I'll get back to why it's important. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that you guys all agree that there's plenty of men who think they're hot shit, but they're not. And perhaps they think they're deserving of a certain caliber of woman that they're not really deserving of. I'm sure you guys have seen this phenomenon of, oh man, she's like, why is this beautiful girl with this really mid guy, right? One, this is because women make awful appraisals of men's physical attractiveness and their own attractiveness. On a societal level, you're gassed up by society. In addition to this, you're gassed up by your peer group, all your friends. I could go to any single one of your Instagrams, pull up a photo, and there's your entire friend group or acquaintances or whoever the fuck is following you on social media. Slay queen, you're beautiful, you're 10 out of 10, you're the, oh my God, baddie. I could pull up any of your Instagrams, regardless of how mediocre or average any of you are, and your friends will tell you that you're beautiful. Look, I'm not, maybe you're great people and all, but like you guys are gassing each other up to the point where you guys are thinking you're 10s, but you're not. Here's where the issue ends up. Women and men are very different, right? We're totally different. Now, here's I guess there's many ways where this totally is a catastrophe when it comes to the dating landscape. Here's the biggest. If I step to a Victoria's Secret model and I say, hi, I'm Brian, I'm making myself sexually available to you. Obviously, it wouldn't be as autistic as that. But like, you get the underlying point. I'm instantly getting rejected. So, sorry, I'm trying to kind of frame this as best as I can. Men get rejected on the front end. If we try to step to a girl who's outside of our league, we don't get a date. We don't get a conversation. We certainly don't get sex. The difference is when you women step to a man who's outside of your league, you get a date, you get sex, you don't get commitment. And so you get rejected on the back end. And so what ends up happening is because you get sexual access to men who will never give you commitment, they'll keep you around for, maybe they'll fuck you once, maybe they'll keep you around for, they could even string you along for a year. You got girls in situationships for years, and these guys don't want to give you commitment. And so what ends up happening is a couple things. One, you're dealing with men who are orders of magnitude more attractive than you. It could be looks, it could be status, it could be personality. And this is dangerous insofar as you think that's what you deserve. So a lot of women spend their 20s fucking and dating men that they can't lock down for a long-term relationship. They get into their 30s. The men who are actually on their level are still there. I want to give you a relationship, okay. I can't get those men. I've finally come to the conclusion that I'll never be able to get those men. Time is ticking. I need to get married. I need to have kids. You settle for the guy who's actually on your level, but you still, because your own self-assessment of where you stand in the dating marketplace has been so warped by your sexual access to men who are outside of your league. Oh, look, if you can sleep with a guy who's a 9, that don't mean you're a 9. The guy you can get a long-term committed relationship from, the guy who will give you a ring, that's your league. Not the guys who you can fuck, not the NFL players, not the rap musicians. That's not your league. If you can get commitment from them, maybe it's your league. Your league is the men you can get long-term monogamous relationships and a ring from. Absent that, just because you can fuck an NFL player and he's a 10, doesn't mean you're a 10. But because you have access to these men, if you think you're a 10 or whatever, or you sleep with men who are hyper attractive, it's going to be, one, kind of damaging to your self-esteem to be constantly passed around by men and never being able to secure commitment from them. You're going to look at men who are actually on your level as below you. This is going to make for a terrible relationship. You're going to be like once you're used to a certain treatment or certain caliber of man, it's going to be very hard for you to reconcile, oh, now that I'm 30, I have to settle for like Mr. Average, even if you're an average woman. That's why it's important for y'all as women to be realistic about where you stand in the sexual and dating marketplace. Because again, so okay, here, I guess to wrap up, I'll say this. If I can have sex with a girl, there's a high probability, in terms of, there's a high probability, a high confidence level, I can get that girl in a relationship if I can have sex with her. Can you guys say the same when it comes to the men that you can have sex with? Do you genuinely think that just by virtue of you being able to have sex with a man, you can get him into a relationship? I would imagine you're not quite as confident there.
Not at all.
Anybody? Here, how about this? Have you guys had the experience of you've been sleeping with a guy, you really like him, you want a relationship, and he's like, no, pump the brakes. I'm pretty confident if I can sleep with a girl, I can get her into a relationship instantly. I can get her into a relationship that night.
That's the same argument as just, pumping the brakes and not having sex with a guy first. That's the same argument that we were having. Yeah, because if you know, exactly your point, if you know that if a man can have sex and get into a relationship, but men say yes to anything theoretically, so then that's why the argument of trying to regardless of your past, trying to be like, no, wait, okay, because like what you just said, I want to test if he actually likes me, if he actually thinks I'm in his league, not just because I'm fucking an NFL player.
Well, I would tend to agree with you that the longer you make a man wait, the greater likelihood that it can be a filter for men that just want sex. You will start to get, some men are willing to wait though. Some dudes wait in the fucking shadows. They'll wait months. They'll be like, okay, waiting around, put her on the slow burner. I'll take her on a date once every 2 weeks. I'll get it eventually. Some dudes will do that. But there's also guys who are like, man, I ain't gonna go on 8 dates. I'm just trying to fuck. I'm not gonna go on 8 dates with this chick.
So that protects you from the argument that you're making. If we know that men can have sex and then not see us as their caliber, that's the protection against that. I feel like
we lingered on that the conversation an hour ago.
I'm not trying to bring it up again. I'm just saying that's the answer. You're trying to say that, that's the answer.
No, but a woman could use that as a filter to try to reduce the potential pool of men that are just trying to fuck her.
If you're just making a statement, I suppose I could agree with you.
But can we stick to the topic at hand?
I am. That was my answer to the topic at hand. However, sure, I guess theoretically, I could agree with you.
Agree with me insofar as what?
What you
what are you agreeing with me on? Just so...
theoretically, the argument is what you just said. If you have sex with a girl, you could probably get her into a relationship. But but the inverse of that, then it's if a girl has sex with a guy, that doesn't mean that she'll get into a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless, whatever.
Right, but I was not trying to use that in.
Are you just making a statement? What are you wanting? I'm giving an answer to that.
It was actually a question that you posed. I was explaining to you why we're talking about the looks and the rating thing.
Okay.
I'm not really inclined to go back to the conversation prior.
That was my answer, but okay. Then why are you still talking about it then?
You brought it up, lady.
But you're still talking about it. I said, okay, and then you're saying it again. And then I said, okay, and then you're saying it again. And then I said, okay.
Okay, so you asked me a question. Why are you...
Oh my God, you're saying it again. That's so funny.
I'm literally not. You asked me originally the question of, why do you toxic men want to have women rate themselves? It's it's actually almost in an effort to see if we can bring you back down to earth so that you can move in the dating marketplace, not with ridiculous expectations and standards for men, so that you don't get burned because you're chasing after fucking Giga Chad, when the reality is most women are average. You're chasing after men who you're trying to date well above what your own looks, prospects, and personalities warrant.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I completely agree.
And this is why, this is evidenced by just the reality of hypergamy. It's evidenced by what's going on dating apps. 10% of men on dating apps are monopolizing all the women. That's why it's important. You want to stop dealing with fuckboys that are fucking 10 different chicks and dealing with you, or do you want to actually get into a relationship?
I would agree with that.
You want to get into a relationship? Let's have a real conversation about okay, am I chasing after men who are emotionally unavailable, who are like the top tier of men, and like, yeah, I can get sex from them, and it's like super cool. Like they're really attractive, and I'm really turned on, and I'm really into like having sex with these men, but they're never going to give you a relationship.
Can I add something?
Sure.
I generally don't go for men that are more attractive than me.
I agree.
Same.
Yeah.
I think most women don't, to be honest. I think we go for other things, but like typically on the attractiveness scale, it's typically, like not always, but typically the woman is more attractive. I don't think we care about looks as much as men do. We care about a lot of other things, but not looks as much as men do.
And I've had the opportunities to fuck celebrities that I've said no to. Like, I don't, like, that's not the end all be all. Like, I think women want connection from men. So I feel like the majority of guys that I've dated, like actually fell in love with and dated, have been way average.
Mm-hmm. I think that as someone, I guess I can say from my standpoint, from how I do realistically look, as I believe I am a 3.5, and I have had sexual relations with someone that was, you know, I guess, what would you say, do they say out of your league? Like, would they look better than me?
I mean,
and
it
that
could,
sort of
you
thing.
could just be more attractive.
And I think that even though they did that with me, that's not going to. I like to be in reality too. That's not going to inflate my ego and be like, oh wow, I must be absolutely gorgeous then. I have nothing else to work on, because he would know. You know, it's not like there's so much I have to work on within myself to be relationship material, and that, you know, and also looks wise too. And just because he's, you know, gonna do that with me doesn't make me a 10. I'm still going to, again, say that what I truly believe I am.
Yeah,
And
look, I don't think women are. You've had a sexual encounter with like a hyper attractive guy. It doesn't necessarily mean like you're forever beholden to like, you know, it's gonna spell doom for all your other relationships. But like, let me ask it this way: have you guys ever like hooked up with a guy who was like had a bunch of roommates, and he actually like not just housemates, like had a roommate, and like you gotta like schedule that shit if you're trying to hook up with the dude, and it's like some girls even be like fucking the dude and the dude's in the room.
Yeah.
Or like you have a roommate. This happens in college all the time, at least here like locally, just because I don't know, rent's crazy. People have like living in triples, quads, in dorm rooms. People like are hooking up in front of their roommates. Kind of weird, but whatever. Have you guys had that experience?
No.
No? Nobody? Okay. How about this? Have you ever like been, I'm trying to think of like the least cringe one. Have you ever had the experience of like a guy who lived in like a really I know this isn't like the most important thing, like probably you care more about like the guy's character and like whatever, but you ever gone from like a dude who had his own place to like, and then you dated a dude who's like, I don't know, got like kind of shitty living situation? You're kind of like, damn, it's gonna be hard to like go back to like, shit, I gotta scamper through the hallways to get to the bathroom type thing, you know? It's hard to go move backwards. In that similar vein, I feel like once you've fucked with a certain type of dude, it's like hard to like go back. Once you've had a certain level of like either treatment or experience, it's hard to like, that's like your new threshold. That's your new standard.
Agree.
I don't agree.
It's hard, but
Okay, well, I know
I guess
you,
you're
like,
saying
you,
it's.
you deal with like a A-lister, then you go slumming. I get it.
No,
But
he wasn't an A-lister. He was a nobody. Anyway, I dated a guy who, before I broke up with my ex this past time, gave me money, $500 for no reason, just to go shopping. I still went back to my ex when he was sober, and I still held more value for him, even though I could have had it easy with the guy
let me
who
ask
sent
you,
me $500.
was the sex better with your ex? Did you even hook up with that guy?
I did.
Yeah? Was
Yeah.
the sex better with him?
No.
The new guy, the sex was better?
No. No.
Wait, so-
Sex was better with my ex because we had a connection.
Yeah, okay. Is your ex taller?
No.
More physically attractive?
No.
So
Well, I mean, look, there is something to like continuity, right? Like if you've been in a long, like you love this guy, right? Yeah, you love him. So I mean, there's that component too. But just to be clear, you were on a break. This guy gave you $500 to go shopping. He was more physically attractive. but you went back to your fentanyl addicted boyfriend. Is that your?
He was sober when I got back with
Oh,
him.
excuse me. Excuse me.
He
I don't know
wasn't.
if like that's a great argument, but
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're saying it's hard to go back. I went back. I'm telling you my
Because the
experience.
dick was good.
Yeah, I agree with that
The
too.
dick was good, but also, like, I had love for the person. I valued that person
Yeah.
when he was sober.
okay. All right.
I don't
Fair
think
enough.
it's as hard as you're painting it to be.
Yeah. I think that even if someone does have, say, like good sex with another person, you could, if you really have someone else that you love, there's a connection, there's so much more depth than just the sex. You can very well go back to
Or the living
them.
situation or the
living
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in a
Sex
box
doesn't
with
define
my
everything.